Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samantha Leighanne and I talk about books. So if I look familiar, it's because I am, because I just got done wrapping up my best books of 2017. We're going to talk about my worst slash most disappointing books of 2017. I had a really good reading year, so this list is much shorter than my best books of 2017. So once again, not all of these books were published within this year. I just read them this year. If any book on this list is a book that you really enjoyed, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't like it. Let's be very clear about that. They just didn't work for me, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. And I did a buddy read with this with Jasmine from Novel Thoughts and Clara. I will link their channels down below, and everybody had talked about how amazing this book was, and the cover is just absolutely gorgeous. I love the cover. This is an origin story of the Queen of Hearts. When you do an origin story, there's supposed to be like progression. You're supposed to love this main character, and then something terrible is supposed to happen. Well, not terrible. And then something is supposed to happen that turns them into this villain, right? I hated Kath from the beginning of this book to the end. I did not like her as a character, and her entire relationship with just I hated it. I can't really think of anything that I liked about this book. I lied. The only thing that I liked about this book was just like the general setting and the way that that was like portrayed. How can you not? It's like Alice in Wonderland, so like how can you not love it? I wanted to love this book so much and I just didn't. It was not good to me. I have no intention of rereading it, and I'm probably gonna unhaul it. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is Invisible Monsters. This is by Chuck Palahniuk, and I have read probably 5 or 6 of his works, and I actually have a bunch more of them back here. I generally like him as a writer, but this book really fell flat to me for a multitude of reasons. The writing itself was not bad. I didn't really like the characters that were in this book. However, I don't think that you were supposed to. So I didn't really factor that in whenever I, made my decision on how I feel about this book. The biggest problem that I had within this book was there is a trans character in this book, and the way that this was treated, I hated it. I absolutely hated it, and honestly, I can't say much more than that without it being very spoilery. So just know that the way that that was treated, I could not get behind it. Couldn't get behind it, and that honestly was, after I finished it, I think that I gave it like 3 stars, and then the more that I thought about it, the more I really decided that that just did not sit right with me, and so I ended up lowering it to 2. This isn't going to keep me from reading the rest of his work because obviously I have all of it, so well, not all of it, but I have a lot of it, so I plan on reading more. But it really bothered me the way that that was treated, and so I would not recommend this book at all. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Year of the Black Rainbow by Claudio Sanchez, and I have a love affair with Claudio Sanchez and Coheed and Cambria, and I have for many years. I've been reading the Amore Wars comics as they've been coming out, and I binged them all this year, and I really loved them. And this book was supposed to be kind of like a prequel to that entire comic book series. It was not well done. The formatting, I read it on ebook, the formatting was not very good. The dialogue between the characters was like clunky and didn't feel real to me. The writing itself just wasn't very good. And then on top of that, I didn't really feel like I gained any new information from this prequel. This was all pretty much information that we had gotten, through the course of the comics. So I didn't really gain any kind of new insight or new perspective. And so even though I really wanted to love this book because it's Coheed and Cambria, it's Claudio Sanchez, I could not rate it highly. I just couldn't, so I ended up giving it 2 stars. And I was so disappointed by that because, again, like I wanted to love it so much, but it just, nope. The next book is In the Woods by Tana French, and this is the like Dublin Murder Squad. So You know, the description of this book sounded really interesting. So this is a book that was supposed to be like psychological suspense slash like thriller. I had a lot of high hopes for it because it had gotten like a lot of critical acclaim, and I listened to it on audio, and the narrator wasn't that good, but honestly I feel like if the narrator had been good, I still wouldn't have liked it very much for a couple of different reasons. So the way that the story kind of plays out, so you have your main character, he's a detective, and when he was a child, he's in the woods with two of his friends, and they, you know, are playing. Only one of them comes back, and it's him. He cannot remember what happened, has no idea. So then fast forward so many years later, another child has been found dead in this general vicinity. So of course he's like super caught up in this case, and that's, you know, kind of where we pick up. So I really don't think that I liked much of anything about this book, to be completely honest. I didn't really find it that suspenseful. I didn't find it thrilling or psychologically thrilling. I did not like the main character of this book. I did not find him interesting. I do not feel like he showed any type of growth throughout the entire book. He had his partner with him. The relationship between them was very tropey, and just the way that their entire relationship was written, I didn't enjoy. I didn't feel like it was super believable. And it was really just like one giant stereotype. And I just hated that. I didn't care about anything that was happening. I did not care about the main character's childhood trauma that he went through. I didn't care about the current case that was going on. Nothing at all interested me, and I ended up like hate reading this book, which I don't usually do, but it was on audio and I just felt compelled to finish it because I just wanted to know, you know, like what was gonna happen. But honestly, I didn't care. I have no desire to read anything else by this author. If you love this author, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry, not sorry. I don't plan on reading anything else by her. I just wasn't impressed enough to pick anything else up, especially because like this is one that's supposed to be like so good. Nope, I'm good, thanks. And the next book is All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. I had a lot of people that I saw that really liked this book, and I just didn't. This is another like thriller. You have a girl who has left her hometown, which is like somewhere in the mountains of Tennessee or something like that. Maybe North Carolina, I do not recall. Appalachia, somewhere in that general vicinity. So she has returned home from like New York. She has left her entire life behind because of something that happened while she lived there a million years ago. And so now she has to return because her father is very ill. All of a sudden, too, there is a girl that has gone missing when her friend apparently also went missing so many years ago. And so she comes home and things happen. The timelines that are in the story can be a little bit confusing simply because you're going from like kind of flashbacky type things to current day. But then some of the current day took place 2 days ago, and some of it's like 2 days in the future. And so there were some points where I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like I'm so confused as to what is happening. And usually books don't get me like that. And then I guessed what was gonna happen, you know, towards the end, and I wasn't impressed. So I would maybe read something else by this author because I didn't hate read this. It's kind of like how I read Girl on the Train and I wasn't really feeling it. But I still feel like I would give Paula Hawkins another chance. I feel like I would give Megan Miranda another chance. So I don't know, I didn't like it. So yeah. And the last book that I'm gonna talk about, I feel like you guys already know. It's The Circle by Dave Eggers. I hated this book so much. Talk about hate reading. So this was made into a movie, and I haven't seen the movie. I still kind of want to watch it just for comparison's sake. So you have this concept, you have May, who has started with this company called The Circle, and it's like this weird conglomerate. It's a mixture of like Google and Facebook and Amazon. It's like everything wrapped into one. So you have your main character May, and like these things start happening, and they, you know, when you are working for like this big tech conglomerate, you know, and they start like tracking her every move, and she has this camera that she carries with her at all times, and it's constantly streamed on the internet. And you have May, this character who just accepts everything. She's like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's a very like Orwellian concept, you know, about like being watched all the time and there being cameras everywhere. And so you had this idea that was so strong and something that you could have done something so cool with, and you dropped it. You 100% dropped it. Like I said, May as a character, I hated her because she just accepted everything. She was like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Like, it's 100% okay that you're following my every waking move. It is 100% okay that you're essentially, you know, controlling my life for the most part. Honestly, the book itself felt like it was written to be a screenplay. Like, he knew that it was going to be adapted at some point, so he just got real lazy with it. And then at the end, there is this metaphor. And you knew that it was going to happen, like, as soon as they introduced the situation. And this metaphor, it was just, like, so trite. And so, like, if I had had the physical book, I would have thrown it across the room whenever I read that. Let me just put it to you that way. Like, and also, it just made me so mad because, again, the concept was something that was so good. They could have done so much with it. And he dropped it. He was like, meh, it's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. So yeah, I really hated it. It was terrible. I have no intention of ever picking up anything by this author again. You can tell me that another book that he has written will be my favorite book of all time and I will not pick it up. That's how angry that book made me. And literally, any tag that I did this year, if it asked about the last book that, like, you hated or you hate read or something, this is the book that came out of my mouth the most, because I really didn't read many bad books. Like, I really didn't. And I was really blessed on that front. So because this book just, you know, provoked such a strong reaction, yeah. So once again, just want to reiterate, these opinions are my own. If you liked any of the books that I mentioned, I am so happy for you. I am more than willing to discuss the merits of this book. Just don't get ugly about it. So have you read any of these books? How did you feel about them? Comment down below. Let me know. We'll talk about them. All of my social media links can be found down below. If you like what you see, you want to see more, make sure you click thumbs up and hit subscribe if you have not already. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.